Hey everyone, it's Wildman, and in today's video we are going to be diving into some even more disturbing YouTube videos. And this is the third installment of this series, so I do want to genuinely thank you guys for the support on the channel recently. My last video got demonetized, so hopefully we're cool on this one, fingers crossed. But yeah, before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well as liking the video as well as commenting brah as usual, because that actually helps me out a lot. So if you could do it, that'd be super cool. But yeah, let's get into it. So this first video was created by Vibing Leaf, and it's called Toy Story Woody Corruptions, which bases itself on the infamous 1995 animated movie Toy Story, with a main protagonist named Woody who finds himself at odds with his kid's new toy. The entire movie was completely computer animated and was actually the first feature-length film using entirely computer-generated visuals. And so with that being said, there was bound to be technical glitches when creating this movie, which brings us to this video. Sometimes when Woody is rendered, he is switched to a low poly model with textures all messed up, and what's shown is this soulless rendering of the toy cowboy. We never thought we'd bring this up, since it was more of a frustrating glitch that took time to fix. We encountered it again when developing Toy Story treats, and decided to mess with this bug. This video is your chance to check it out. And what plays is a scene where Woody is trying to teach Buzz how a television works, but then things begin to glitch.
It's a television! Big, thick helmet head! They've gotten to you, haven't they? No!
Woody's face staring blankly at the viewer as if asking for help. Now this video was fairly short, but I did think it was a good one to start us off, but there is a follow-up video called Friend Inside Me, which don't even say anything. In this one, things follow a much darker path as Woody appears to be strung up in the middle of this abandoned home. That is, until he glitches into oblivion. The message stating weird video found on Toy Story Wiki. But yeah, like I said, I thought this was a good place to start, considering that these two videos are just really creepy in of themselves and don't really have a huge story behind them, which some of these following videos do. And personally, I've always found animation glitches to be really scary. Like for example, if you bought the DVD version of Shrek, you were able to access this special feature section where you'd be shown a variety of technical glitches labeled technical goofs. But let me tell you, when I saw these as a kid, they were definitely not that funny and actually freaked me out a lot, because some of these goofs were incredibly disturbing. Especially this one glitch featuring Fiona, where her face is completely distorted and she lets out this scream. I remember seeing these as a kid and having nightmares about them because there's something just so haunting about these videos. I've also considered making a video on these disturbing animation glitches, but we'll see. The The next video is called A Night at Your Grandma's, and given the title of the video, you're going to be spending the night with her. You're walking up the sidewalk. As you can tell, the sidewalk is very long. I suppose this is exercise for you. The last time you've seen your grandma was October 1986. Your grandma lives in a small neighborhood called Clay Village. Your grandma lives approximately 7 hours away from where you live. You finally make it up the sidewalk to the house. You try your best to remember your grandma's name. You finally remember after thinking for a while. Mary Shawkins. Your grandma opens the door. She says, "How do you do? How do you do? And how do you do?" She's very thrilled to meet you again after a long time. Your grandma then invites you inside for a fresh batch of cookies. You politely accept as your stomach growls. But then things go completely black and a face appears that says, "You can't leave." Your grandma takes you into the living room of the house. It looks old, but it doesn't matter. You ask her for the batch of cookies. She then realizes that she forgot and quickly rushes into the kitchen. You walk around and decide to snoop around her house. You find a diary. You decide whether you should read it or not. Then you decide you do. And after reading the diary, it results in this sequence. A face telling you, "See this. This is what you will look like." Grandma then comes up the stairs just in time to notice you looking at her diary. She luckily didn't notice, and she says to come downstairs for the cookies, and you start to walk down. You look down at the cookies, they smell so good. Your grandma then says, "Dig in." You then eat each cookie one by one and eat them all. They taste so good, but something feels off, and it's then revealed that you're trapped under the basement, unable to escape. It's unclear what you read in Grandma's diary, but she obviously saw you, and it was something that no one was supposed to know. This next video is called Losing Nemo, which is also based on the animated film Finding Nemo. So 2 for 1 in the animated movie category today. In it, we're immediately met with Marlin the clownfish, who is speaking to his son Nemo, who appears to be suffering from an injury on his left side.
Son, wake up. You don't remember what happened? Let me jog your memory.
Who, in a very comedic fashion, Nemo ended up touching a sea urchin because his friend told him to, which resulted in his injuries, and now he's facing the life-threatening consequences. And then Marlin begins to tell his son that he's going to make a sacrifice to save his life.
To save your life, I will give you my fin. I'm old. It's better off with you.
And in this next part, Marlin ends up taking off his own fin, but he goes in too deep and his brain leaves his body. But yeah, this animation is pretty unsettling, especially considering the fact that giving Nemo his own fin wouldn't really result in saving his son's life. So I feel like the more likely reason Merlin even did that was because he couldn't lose Nemo again, and so he decided to go with him, which is incredibly dark. But yeah, this animation reminds me a lot of this other video that popped up on my recommended feed a while back that was so disturbing, and it caught me at a really bad time. It was like at 3 in the morning, and I watched it and it made me literally unable to sleep. It's called Finding Sanity and is also about the protagonist of Finding Nemo. In the video, Marlin comes home to find that Dory has eaten his son, and after trying to look for Nemo, his son arrives home unscathed. Nemo was never inside of Dory, and Nemo tells his father that she was pregnant with his children. Marlin replying, "Oh, that's okay. All that matters is you. You will be with me forever, Nemo." And then Marlin attempts to eat Nemo, but the authorities arrive in time to stop him. Later, Marlin is given a psychological evaluation by Bruce, who is there to determine Marlin's state of mind. Bruce proceeds to give Marlin a Rorschach test, which is used by psychologists to evaluate certain patients' state of mind, and after being given the test, Marlin says that it looks like his son, Nemo. Bruce asks if he remembers their affirmations, and Marlin says, "Nemo is food, not friend." A play on the fish are friends, not food, as stated in the movie. That concludes our psychiatric appointment, Mr. Clownfish. You are beyond salvation and will be put to death. And while Marlin is given the ultimate sentence, he tells Nemo to enjoy life while you can, Nemo. I'll be waiting for you in the afterlife. And I don't know, there's something about this video, maybe it's the art style, but this one seriously freaked me out, so now you guys are gonna have to be freaked out too, so yeah, sorry. Also, there is the fact that Dory could not have possibly been pregnant, given that Marlin and Dory are two different species, so they wouldn't be able to procreate. It makes it all the more unsettling that Dory probably just ate something that she wasn't supposed to and forgot what it was, since it does seem like her memory has gotten worse since the films. Still, this video is incredibly disturbing. Alright, so this next one is called God is Blank and I Blanked Him, which is about a man on a quest to find the name of God, but his journey does not end well. The video starts by saying, "My mother always told me never to stare into the sun, so when I was 7, I stared into it. The doctors didn't know if my vision would heal. I was terrified, alone in the darkness. Then slowly, daylight began to creep through the bandages on my eyes. I could see again, but something had changed inside of me." And then it switches to a log called Restate My Assumptions. Number 1. The universe is predicated on the duality of chaos and order. Number 2. Every aspect of life is a variation of these opposites. Number 3. Without these opposites to define each other, it is impossible for life to exist in any dimension. Therefore, we should accept all chaos and order as equally and necessary. Nevertheless, humanity pushes against the chaos and darkness at every possible opportunity, and understandably so. When chaos enters our lives, what follows is a reckoning of our mortality and our limitations. This reckoning will always bring great pain. Some of this pain is so great that some people would prefer death over that reckoning. The log cuts out and we're shown a message from a retired mathematician named John Kafka, also known as the child of the story from earlier, who was blinded by the sun. My central theory as a mathematician is that everything in our world can be represented and understood mathematically. To prove this theory, I've built a supercomputer which can predict the stock market. I believe somewhere behind the rise and fall of stock prices is a mathematical pattern which can be learned. If I can decipher this pattern, then I will become a god amongst men. I will achieve a divine status that no one can look down upon. Everything was going according to plan until... One day, while my supercomputer was running its pattern on the stock market, it suddenly crashed. My screen went blank for a while before a series of numbers appeared on the screen. I managed to write down the series of numbers on a piece of paper. The series of numbers was 216 digits long. It made no sense. I couldn't figure out why the computer would come up with something like this. So I decided to go and ask my old math professor and see if he knew anything. When I asked my old math professor about the series of numbers, something happened. He became very concerned. He told me it was nothing and that I shouldn't look into it. When I asked why he was being so dismissive with me, he became angry and threw me out of his house. After that, I went down to a local coffee shop. There I sat down and pondered on what this number could possibly mean. Then a man named Charles sat down next to me. Charles was an old friend of mine from college. He asked me about the series of numbers. He then told me about the code in the Bible. Charles said that every letter in the Bible is associated with a number, and if you find the right combination of numbers, you will reveal the true name of God. If the true name of God is spoken, then the person who spoke his name will obtain a godlike status. Then in my apartment, I changed the algorithm in my computer from the stock market prices to Bible verses. I worked on this algorithm for months and months. I cut all ties with my friends and family. I didn't even leave my apartment. I stayed in complete isolation for almost an entire year, until something happened. I had a dream one night. I saw my mother. She was weeping. She then turned and looked at me. Her face was rotting. Then she transformed into a horrible, demonic creature. This dream terrified me, especially since my mother died 15 years ago. Then my computer crashed, but this time it was different. The computer went blank and nothing showed up. I couldn't turn it back on. My life's work was gone. The only thing that I strived for was gone. My one chance at redemption and enlightenment was gone. I had destroyed my life working on this, and it was gone in an instant. There is only one thing to do now. I stand atop this building with nothing left to live for. This is it. My life has produced nothing. My existence has been meaningless. God is dead, and I killed him. How should I comfort myself? I am the murderer of all murderers. This is the only way. Okay, so this last video we're going to be taking a look at is called Doors. Doors follows the story of a person named Audrey who goes searching for this door that can appear in your home. However, there are consequences if you search for the door. Something that happened to Sarah's sister, Audrey, as she's been gone ever since. Audrey's sister Sarah, determined to bring her back, performs a ritual to summon the door that took her sister. However, this welcomed something far more sinister into her home, and so she sets up cameras to record throughout the night to capture anything that may be happening, which does lead her to discovering that her sister is back, but she's not the same. And in this third installment in the series, we're met with Sarah once again, waking up from another dreadful night. But the place in which she awakes is not her home, as a man speaks to her from the floor.
I'm not her. What is this place?
A voice begins telling Sarah that Audrey is not here. The TV saying, "Do not try and find the door. It will find you." And then this happens. Sarah runs from whatever has taken over Audrey's body and ends up running into the forest where the sun vanishes seemingly in an instant. She wanders lost throughout the forest until she finds a trail and follows the path, and it leads her here to the door she used during the ritual in the last episode. The door that was supposed to bring her sister back, but then strange enough, there are more doors. And Audrey seems to be stuck in some sort of endless loop. That is, until someone emerges from the door. After Sarah's encounter with the entity, she seems to be back home, as a drawing of the door is on the wall and her camera equipment is also present. But when she makes it into the other room, there is someone there.
Hello? Did you open the door yet? It was pulled through. So you did not open it yourself? To open the door so I can end up like you. You are me.
After this encounter, Audrey hides in the room and quickly begins to realize that the window is blocked in by bricks, and then she finally finds her sister. And as soon as Audrey vanishes, Sarah comes to a very grim realization that there is no way to return home. All there is to venture further into the door. You will hear a knock on your door tonight. A door will be added to your house. If you try to find the door, you will become lost. But yeah, that pretty much does it. Feel free to let me know which one of these videos freaked you out the most. For me, you guys already know, it was the Finding Nemo one, as I saw that one super late at night, and something about the art style just really freaks me out a lot. And huge shout out to my channel members who help support the channel, as well as my ultimate tiers, Kareem Arellano, Dreadator, Alejandro from the Tower, K-Pop Lover X3, and Knight98. If you want early access to videos and to support me and your name right here, it's only $1.99. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. It's always super great. Your time is super valuable, so I do appreciate you spending it with me. I'll see you later. Bye. Love you.